Hey there, today we will be showing you how to replace the motor on your 775MX. Before we begin, we will need to gather some tools. In this kit, you will need a set of Allen keys, a crank extractor, a bottom bracket tool, a quick link opener, as well as some grease, Loctite, and alcohol. To start, please make sure your bike is completely turned off and your battery is unplugged. After this is done, you will unscrew the crank arm bolt with your Allen key. Next, on the non-drive side, you will use your crank extractor tool to take off the left side crank arm. It's important to make sure the extractor is inserted properly and completely tight. If not, you may rip off the threading. Remove the washers and keep them nearby so you don't lose them. Next, unscrew the collar. Once the collar has been removed, lightly tap the spindle to release it on the other side. Use the 16-notch bottom bracket tool to unscrew the bottom bracket cup. Now set this to the side. Next, unscrew the 3 bolts located on the left plate. Now, to release tension in the plate, you will need to partially unscrew the 2 bolts on the side. Then grab the washer next to the bottom bracket. Then fully remove the bolt at the top and partially unscrew the one on the bottom. The motor side plate should now be able to move. Just gently let it hang and place the spacers and bolts off to the side. Now, use your chain breakers to remove the quick link. This will separate the chain. And just remember to keep the quick link in a place where you will not lose it. For the next step, we will need to use the flat standard Allen key, rather than the angle Allen key to prevent the bolts from stripping. You can now start unscrewing the bolt. And at this point, you can let your motor hang. Then you will want to pull down the all-black cord. Once you've identified it, you can then unplug it. Then you can push the motor's power cord through the hole in the frame. Next, unplug the speed sensor and snip the zip tie holding it to the frame. Now, you can completely remove the motor, then replace it with the new one. On the new motor, you will need to unscrew the chain guide and then remove the plate. Now, with the plate, line up the 2 pins and firmly push the plate onto the frame. After that, you can gently place the new motor into the bottom bracket. It should be able to support its own weight and hang from the frame. Once it's on, you will need to plug in 3 cords. One for the battery, one for the speed sensor, and one more will be the harness cable. You can easily identify the harness cable by the 2 arrows. Before plugging them in, both arrows must be facing each other. Doing this improperly will result in bent or damaged pins. Next, you will need to route the motor's battery cord through the left side of the frame. Keep in mind, though, it's crucial not to plug it in just yet. Then you will place the side plate on and insert the 2 screws. You will only want to tighten these slightly, still allowing some wiggle room. After this is done, you will want to grease your bottom bracket cup before installing it back on your motor. Place your spacer behind the plate like we have shown here, and then screw back in the bottom bracket cup. Do not fully tighten the cup just yet. You want the motor to still have a bit of room to move. For now, we will be using a zip tie to hold it in place. Next, you will want to route the speed sensor connector through the frame. And once it's routed through, you will also need to look for the distinctive arrows on the connector. Line these up before plugging it in. Next, you will need to screw on the silver bolts that hold the motor to the frame. The long bolt goes through the back and the washer goes over it. This will be repeated on both sides. Then you will need to apply Loctite to the bolts. To align the holes, you will need to slightly elevate the motor until the threads are aligned. Then you can insert the bolts. You will also want to make sure both bolts are fully tightened. After, set your torque wrench to 60 Newton meters and then tighten your bottom bracket cup. Next, tighten all 5 of the bolts, and we recommend tightening them to at least 6 Newton meters. Then, once the bolts are tightened, you may cut off the zip tie. Be careful not to damage the frame or cut any mechanical wires. Then you will use a small zip tie to tie down the speed sensor cable. Once it's tightened, go ahead and clip the remainder of the tie. Now, tighten the drive side bolt that connects the motor to the frame to roughly 6 Newton meters. Next, you will want to grease your spindle, and it's important to cover both O-rings thoroughly. Once thoroughly greased, you will want to grab the spindle's collar as well. Then you will insert it into the drive side part of the motor. Located on the collar, there is a ridge. This ridge indicates the correct way to install it. When putting it on, the ridge should be faced inward and will not be visible. Thread the preload collar on by hand and adjust it until 2 things are true. First, there should be no side-to-side play in the spindle. If there is, tighten the collar a bit more. Second, when you spin the spindle, it should feel smooth with no resistance or tight spots. If it feels stiff, the collar is too tight. And then once it's dialed in, tighten the pinch bolt to a maximum of 3 Newton meters. Both of the pedals have letter indicators, L for left and R for right. Then place the spacer on the spindle and lightly grease the end. Then you will want to put the designated crank for this side. In this video, we are doing the left side first. Now you will screw in the crank bolt, and this will need to be extremely tight. The small gap will be closed when done correctly. And now you can repeat the same process for the drive side. It's important to remember that the second crank must be placed in the opposite direction of the left crank arm. Once put on, you can now screw on the bolt. The same rule applies for the drive side. The crank must be fully tightened down, and there should be no gap. Now, you can double check to see if there's any play in the motor. If not, you are good to proceed. With the quick links, we will be putting back together the motor chain. You will first need to route the chain through the top side of the chainring. Once at the bottom, you will then need to run it over the top of the chain guide. Also, rotating the crank arm can slowly help push the chain through. Once the quick link is connected, you will need to gain tension again by pushing the tensioner forward. Doing this will lock the quick link in place. Next, you will need to put back on the chain guide and then screw the bolt in to lock it in place. To install the pedals, there are letters indicating which side they should be installed on. L is for left and R is for right. Now, you can plug in your battery and turn on your bike. Lastly, double check to see if your bike is working correctly. If everything is working properly, you are good to go. Thanks for watching.